What's going on, guys? We're just going to jump straight into this podcast. I want to be clear about the intention of what this is about. My goal is that this podcast connects with the person that we are best suited to help. And the person that we are best suited to help in our online fitness coaching program is the person who was just like me and Jose years ago. The reason we even started a company to help people with their fitness is because we realized how hard it was to just do it on our own. And we wish we could have had a program like ours when we first started. So if you know that you need help building a physique that you're proud of and you want to do it in a way that doesn't mean that you need to sacrifice the joys of life, the finer things in life, your social life, being able to travel, you're also really big on, your career and making good money and being able to be, a good dad in the future, and you're just looking for like that sweet spot, then this video is for you. Pretty sure we're going to talk about my story, the things I struggled with, what helped, and where we're at now. And maybe we'll touch on how we can help people as well. So Jose is going to run me through some questions.
You want to treat it like a little Q&A?
I'm a little bit sick right now, so apologies, but let's do it. Let's get into it.
All right, let's get to the root of it. What part of your life started slipping first when you were out of shape?
I mean, easily my confidence. I mean, I was self-conscious every time I looked in the mirror, every time I saw a picture of myself. I remember there was this one specific picture. I had just graduated from college, and it was a picture in front of, like, on the quad at Illinois. And it was me, my roommates. And after that picture was taken and I looked at it and we were all like seeing what it looked like, I just remember looking at, I was wearing a button-down shirt, some dress pants, and then I could just see my lower belly just kind of hanging out. And then I just remember seeing my face just feeling like looking so inflamed and puffy. And I just remember my little graduation hat, like it seemed too small for my head. So everything, I just felt like a balloon. Yeah, that picture really sucked. And it sucked even more because I had been consistent throughout college, and I felt like I knew what I was doing with the gym, but all it takes is a good picture, a good progress picture for you to realize, like, oh shit, I'm not as fit as I thought. So, after I saw that picture, it was confidence. I was dating a girl at the time, and I don't remember feeling like I was maybe gonna like lose her in the relationship, but subconsciously I was like, I don't look good. I mean, I'm not proud of how I'm behaving. So definitely confidence was the first thing that slipped.
Well, you mentioned you were already going to the gym, already consistent. What was your actual plan at that point? Like, what'd your calories look like, or what'd your tracking, training, all that stuff?
Yeah, there's what I thought I was doing, and then what I was actually doing. So what I thought I was doing all throughout college, and keep in mind I'm 30 now, so this was a while ago, 8, 9 years ago, 10 years ago. I thought that I was, tracking my workouts, going to the gym 4 days a week, doing an upper lower. I understood rep ranges at the time, so I knew how to progress in weight. I was strong, but I didn't look it because the amount of fat on my body just overpowered the amount of muscle that I had, right? It didn't matter how strong I was. I just had too much. My body fat percentage was too high. So I was strong, but it doesn't matter how, at least to me, it didn't matter how strong I was if I looked like shit. So my plan was, or at least what I thought it was going to the gym 4 days a week, tracking my calories and hitting, I don't know what my calorie target was set to. Maybe I was maintaining, maybe I was trying to cut. But if I was trying to cut, I knew then that eating 2,200 calories would get me there, would get me lean. And then making sure that I was PRing in the gym. But then that was the plan. What actually happened was, between going out and date events and, partying with the fraternity, I thought that I was going 4 days a week. If I were to really look back at the actual data, I was probably going 1 to 2 full sessions per week. And then my third and fourth session were just half-assing it. And then when it came to my calories, I was maybe consistent and accurate with my calorie tracking logs, maybe 2 out of the 7 days of the week, if I'm being honest. And then the other 5 days, I would maybe track one or two things, and then just fall off. But the thing is, when you're going through life like that, it's so easy to lie to yourself. It's so easy to go through a week and be like, oh yeah, that was a pretty good week. I trained 4 days. I tracked my calories. And sure, you technically tracked your calories, but you didn't track them to any meaningful degree that would create progress, right? You might have, yeah, I went to the gym this past week. Yeah, but you didn't do it to any meaningful degree that would cause any muscle growth. So you get what you deserve. And at that time, I got what I deserved. I didn't look good. I might have been overhead pressing 90 pounds on each, with each dumbbell, but I didn't look like it. I looked fat.
And this was how many years into your training?
Into my training journey. I mean, I started lifting when I was 15. My junior year, I was 20. And then my senior year, 21. So 6 years into my training career. Here, I at least have this ego, like this mini ego about me, because I started lifting young and people would come to me for fitness advice, and I knew what I was doing. I knew what to do. But it's not enough. It's not about knowing what to do. It's about doing it consistently. And I think the biggest thing people don't understand is what consistency looks like. I'll pause there.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So you had already been training this was year 6. Mm-hmm. How much progress had you made from 15 to 21?
Knowing what I know now, from 15 to 21, so men can build 40 to 50 pounds of muscle naturally over the course of their lifetime. You can build all 40 to 50 pounds of that muscle tissue in 4 to 5 years, caveat, assuming perfection. Assuming you never miss a training session, you're training with intent, meaning with perfect intensity, perfect technique, you're tracking every lift, you're PRing, assuming everything's perfect, you can build all 40 to 50 pounds naturally in 4 to 5 years.
Dude, and that's hard to do.
I would even
training
say
with
impossible.
intensity is fucking difficult. Like going to the gym, training with intensity every single week is so difficult.
You would need to be a lab rat.
Yeah.
In perfect conditions in some kind of research study for that to happen.
It's insane.
In reality, it's just not going to happen. So that said, in the 6 years that I had trained and more or less knew what I was doing, I probably got to maybe just about middle intermediates, just around a halfway mark of those 50 pounds. I probably built 20, somewhere between 15 and 25 pounds of muscle out of those 50 pounds of muscle that I could build. That would be my guess. If you were to strip down all of the fat, I would look like an intermediate natural bodybuilder, I think. I wouldn't look like an amateur, I've never built any muscle. I'd probably look intermediate at that time.
How much do you think you progressed just in college alone? Do you think it was more of a plateau and you made a lot of the progress from 15 to 18?
I know that the biggest jump for me was one of the big jumps. I can think of different spikes for me. The first big spike was when I first started lifting in high school. I remember I think it was sophomore year, end of sophomore year. That summer, I really started taking lifting seriously. And then when I came back junior year, people would noticeably be like, dude, your arms look bigger, your chest looks bigger. I think I'm not going to say 10 pounds during that summer, but between sophomore year, that first year of me lifting, sophomore to junior year, I probably put on those beginner 10 pounds of muscle tissue, those newbie gains.
Yeah.
Right? What was your question, just to make sure I answered it?
Was college more of a plateau, or
yeah,
did you feel like it was continuous progression?
So that was the first spike in high school. And then in college, there probably was a second spike, though it wasn't that noticeable. I'd probably say over those 4 years of training in college, I probably put on maybe another 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, because I definitely got stronger. I remember college was the time I put up a 405 squat. It was my first 405 deadlift. It was my first maybe 275 bench. I was pressing 90-pound dumbbells. But I definitely got strong during that time.
How heavy were you? What were What was your build like at that point?
I was probably like 190 to 200, like similar to what I am now,
Yeah.
but I just looked fatter.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
my 195 now, I can see abs on me, but 195 then, I didn't see any abs
Yeah.
at all.
So when you got to that graduation picture, was that the moment that you were like, okay, enough is enough? Or was there another moment that really pushed you to go get a coach and all that stuff?
I don't think that was my enough is enough moment.
Just a wake up call, kind of?
It was like, oh, I don't like that. But the thing is, I was dating my ex at that time, and so the pain wasn't there. You know, I'm still getting, for lack of a better term, I mean, I'm still getting laid. I feel very crude saying that, but you know, there was no, I wasn't on the market. You know, my girlfriend, we loved each other. I didn't, and this is why I think so many guys get complacent. They're getting their needs met.
Just
Not
no
to
need
go
to
on
change.
yeah, there's just no need to change. So at that time, I didn't really need to change. Um, However, there was a second picture that was taken 4 months after graduation, or a couple months after graduation. I was in the Dominican Republic with my then girlfriend, a friend, and another friend. And I remember taking this picture at the beach in the water. And I'm wearing, like, I have this shitty top knot.
Dude, this picture is totally getting put in. I have this
It's a
picture
brute.
on deck.
It's a shitty picture. I mean, you know, and you look at that picture, anybody watching this, and be like, oh, he doesn't look that bad. And I don't look obese or anything like that. But to me, I was just like, no way. There's no way. There is no, like, it was just so under the standard that I was willing to accept for myself that was a bit of another wake-up call. Not a wake-up call to completely overhaul my life, but definitely to like get back in the gym and start tracking my calories and like start to do something about it. For sure. I remember that was a big wake-up call for me. But then the issue was I just couldn't do it. Like, I just wasn't seeing the results.
Were you working at this point?
This was just before I was about to start my district manager job. So this was like my last trip, you know, of freedom before I started my full-time job. So then after this trip, I moved to Iowa and I started working at the district manager job.
And then what was your routine with work now that you were finally in like the workforce?
This was hard. So I was working like 12, 14. I mean, I don't want to exaggerate, but let's just see. I would wake up at 5 a.m. to be at the store at like 6:30, tired as hell. I've never been a morning person, so I'm probably on 5 hours of sleep. And then at times, I wouldn't get home till 9. So what is that? 6 to 6, that's 12. Another 3 hours, too. That's 12 to 15 hours sometimes. Sometimes like I mean, the job they paid you a lot of money, but it was,
That's a full 16 hours.
dude, it was a lot. And that was the
Assuming
worst
you
case
have like
scenario.
breaks or whatever.
Yeah, most days it felt like 6 to 6, so 12 hours. So let's just call it on average 12-hour days. I mean, I was burning the wick at both ends.
Making good money.
Yeah, I mean, they were paying us
Working like a dog.
almost 6 figures. They gave us a company car, but we're working like a dog. And I just couldn't get a grip on the nutrition, the training. I couldn't stay consistent. There're just days where you're just so tired and there's no way you're gonna do it. No amount of willpower or discipline was gonna make you do it, because I would just let myself off the hook. You know, maybe if I had been, and this is why I'm so into coaching now, it's like maybe if I had a coach back then, I would have taken it, I know for a fact I would have taken it more seriously, or there would have been a strategy that would that I wasn't seeing, that my coach could see and hold me to, but I didn't have coaching at the time. Coaching wasn't as big as it is now. So the routine was, at times when I was really pissed at myself and motivated, I would wake up before work. So it's like 4 a.m., run just to get some steps in, and then try to eat somewhat healthy during the day, maybe get Chipotle at lunch, track those calories as best as I could, but sometimes you can't track those calories that easily, or you're just not motivated to do it. I have a picture in my uniform that I took at the gym. It's like 9:30 p.m. Gym closes at 10. I'm just getting like a half-assed workout in.
I think we have that picture too.
Right, yeah. And look, like, this is an extreme. I don't think that most people are working 12 to 14-hour days. Like, we have one client right now in our program who's in investment banking that's working 12 to 14-hour days. It's a completely different protocol for somebody like that.
Still losing weight, by the way.
He's still losing weight, but it's because, you know, the strategy that I would have deployed to myself had I been my own coach at that time is, hey man, look, you're going to order a meal prep service because you simply do not have time. You're not going to track. Your workouts are going to be like 30 minutes long. We're just working on compound lifts. You're tracking them, but you're doing them like on the weekends and they're literally 30 minutes long. And you're doing 3 workouts per week. One during the week where it's like on a Wednesday or your lightest day, and then 1 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. And that's it. You have a meal prep service that delivers your meals that are all calorie tracked. And that's it, but that is the extreme, 12 to 14 hour days. And I'm glad I experienced that because now I can coach clients who have that kind of life. I know what to do. I know what it's like. You're not going to track.
Yeah.
You're just not. You're not going to go to the gym during the week. At most you can hit a walk, and that's like actually helpful, to hit a walk. If you're working from home and you're working 12, 14 hours a day, you can get, a treadmill. Remind me of the question just to make sure I answered all of it.
No, I'm actually curious because you mentioned that you kind of let yourself off the hook. And I feel like that happens to a bunch of people where you're so busy with work that fitness doesn't feel like a priority. So what would you tell either yourself back then or somebody that's in that right now, like that doesn't feel like fitness is something they need to care about?
The reason that you don't feel, we know it's a priority. It's always a priority. It's just that there's this thing called learned helplessness, where if you fail at something for so long, you kind of just accept this must not be a priority. It is though. Like we all know right now, subconsciously, that if we were fitter, everything else would improve. Social life, sex life, relationships, work, confidence. It would all improve. It's always, sometimes it feels like a luxury, but it's always a priority. It's something that we always want. So like at the time, the only reason I deprioritized it was because I didn't know how to prioritize it. I just kind of gave up. And I think this is what happens with a lot of guys is like, they would do it if they knew how to do it in a way that felt doable.
Yeah.
Like I'm just thinking about our IB guy.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call him Connor. If Connor knew that he could get fit while working 12 to 14 hours per day, he would do it. The problem is that when you're doing it on your own, you don't know how. Or at least a strategy you have, you're like, there's no way this is gonna work, so you deprioritize it. So ask me the question again. Sorry, my sick brain, guys, is like I have short-term memory, but what is the question again?
I think you answered it. It's just, what would you tell that person that doesn't feel like it's priority?
It's not that you don't think it's a priority because you just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You just don't know how to think about it. Like you're looking at it from a perspective that is not really feasible. The way I was trying to handle fitness at that time was trying to track my account, like doing the things that I would do when I had more time. Like I had back in high school, I had time to track my calories. I had time to work out 4 or 5 days a week. When I was working 12, 14 hours a day, I didn't have that time. So it's a different strategy. You can still do it though. You can still like I said, we can coach people. Doesn't matter how much time you have.
There's always a way.
There's always a way. It's just that you need somebody who's done this a billion times and who has lived through it to show you the way. Like a tour guide, I often like to think of the example of, if you're trying to get through the Amazon rainforest, imagine doing it on your own the first time.
Yeah, good luck.
Versus a guy with a machete that just knows all the shortcuts and has, the experience, which is why our program it's for people that just want it done right. And they want it done as easily as possible. It's going to take effort no matter what, but you're not somebody that wants a shortcut. You're not somebody that wants to take a GLP-1 or you want to do it naturally. We're very big on doing it naturally because I love this example. You build a house really fast, probably cut some corners. That is a house that is like going to degrade very fast over time. Yeah. So it's like, and you hear this time and time again, guys that are on magic vitamins or people GLP-1s are a new thing. I bet you 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, we're going to see some study about like how people taking GLP-1s like fuck themselves over. It's a tale as old as time. Happens all the time with any like fitness fad diet. You do it quick. You take shortcuts. It's just shitty foundation. It's not going to last. You do it the right way, even though it's a little bit slower, it's going to stick. So
what was the point that made you decide to get a coach, your first coach?
I just couldn't do it. And the need the desire was so high to be fit.
What couldn't you do?
I just couldn't build the physique that I wanted. I couldn't I wanted 6-pack abs. I wanted a big chest. I wanted to look like the guys in the movies. And
Would you say there was a point where you thought you didn't know what to do?
yeah, there was a point where this is going to be maybe confusing, but I knew that fat loss, because I had modeled, right? So I have experience with modeling and getting lean, 6-pack lean and building muscle. I knew how to do it. But there was a point where it wasn't happening. And what I really needed to learn wasn't anything new about fitness itself. It wasn't how to build muscle. It wasn't, how to lose fat. I just needed somebody to recalibrate me to the amount of work that it was going to take. And that is what my first coach did for me. Maybe the best way to explain this is just to tell you, when I first started working with Mike, my first coach, I quickly realized oh wait, my workout plan is very similar to what the workout plan he gave me. The nutrition plan, he set me to 2,200 calories. I set myself to 2,200 calories. So I'm like, okay, so the plan that I've been doing works. It's the same plan that my coach gave me. The difference is the execution. Mike did not let me off the hook. And every week when we would check in, he'd be like, dude, this is why you're not losing fat. You took 3 days off during the weekend. And you did it again. And you did it again. It's 4 weeks in a row. You keep taking 3 days off during the weekend. And it's so crazy because you're like, was I blind to this? And in a way, you kind of are.
Yeah.
Unless you're tracking the numbers, you don't really know. The human mind is so fucked. Confirmation bias is probably the reason so many people are fat and overweight, because you will confirm whatever you want to believe, right? If you want to say, oh yeah, I did a good job this week, you will believe that. Ignorance is bliss. I used to write about this in my content all the time. Ignorance is bliss. You can go through a week and just tell yourself that you did a great job and then ignore the data. But if you were to look at the data, you'd go, I didn't hit my calories Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. But here you are telling yourself you did a great job. And then a week later, you wake up Monday and you're like, why am I 3 pounds up? Because you were ignoring the facts. And so what coaching does is you can't ignore the facts. We put the facts right in front of your face. So what I really learned from Mike wasn't anything new. And I think this is what trips people up about, hiring a coach. Your coach isn't going to teach you. Some people we will teach you. You're going to learn. There's no doubt. There were things I learned from Mike, but there's nothing revolutionary or groundbreaking that I learned from Mike other than, this is the most groundbreaking thing I learned, is how easy it is for us to bullshit ourselves.
Yeah.
It is so easy for us to bullshit ourselves. And that the answer is boring. The magic you're looking for is truly in the work that you are avoiding or not looking at. And it sucks. I wish it were sexier. I wish it were as sexy as oh, dude, it was just that, dude, you just got to do this one exercise and then your chest will blow up. Yeah. Or oh, dude, if you just eat this one food, then everything will change. I was hoping, and I think so many people are hoping, that your coaches are just going to give you this one magic food. And look, to be straight up, sometimes we can do that. Yeah. Sometimes you really actually just don't know what you're doing. And for those people, coaching really makes sense. When we teach certain people the concept of high volume, low calorie foods, that is eye opening, or rep ranges.
Yeah.
Really what I'm trying to explain here is that even for somebody that knew what to do, I knew what to do, coaching was still critical for me, because I've coached people who know how to lift. I coached people that quote unquote knew the nutrition already, but they just weren't doing it. They weren't doing it consistently.
And the biggest thing you learned was what consistency really meant. But it seemed like a big realization was that there was no new information. It was really that you already knew what to do. It's just that you weren't doing it.
The new information that I learned was that I was not nearly as consistent as I needed to be to get the results that I wanted. And it makes perfect sense. I mean, you look at somebody who's ripped, jacked. In your mind, you already go, that takes a lot of work. Like that guy's dedicated, right? And if you look at your behavior and you go, I am not that dedicated, there's a reason you don't have that physique.
Were you still going out at this point? Like, did you still have a social life?
Yeah.
Like, how did that change when you started getting a coach and stuff? Because I feel like some people still feel like you get a coach, you're locking in for a 6-month boot camp, and you're not going to have a social life.
Yeah. So it's all strategy. Like, at the end of the day, fat loss is a numbers game. Building muscle is a numbers game. It just is. So having a social life while getting jacked is 100% doable, but you need to know your numbers. You need to know your numbers. For example, let's say you're trying to lose fat, right? Get lean, and you still want to be able to go out. Your constraint is that you need to hit 2,200 calories. Like for me, I needed to hit 2,200 calories a day to lose about a pound a week of fat. Or for at the time, I think I was losing 2 pounds of fat per week. So now the goal becomes, all right, I need to hit 2,200 calories on Saturday, but at the same time, I want to go out with my friends. So then it's a matter of asking yourself the question, how do I stay at 2,200 calories while still being able to go out with my friends? And the answer is pretty simple. Save your calories for when you're going to be out with your friends. And that is what I would do. So it's a matter of strategy. And if you don't know how to do this, or you just can't stay accountable to it, this is what your coach will help you do. But at the time, I mean, I was still going out. This was like peak party stage. This was my early 20s. I was going out every single weekend. And I mean, I have pictures of me looking absolutely ripped. Yes, it's challenging, but it's 1,000% doable. And then what you realize after years of doing it, you kind of go, all right, I rather look this good, and I can say no to more of the social life stuff. You naturally just want to do it. It's not because you're coach or, you just want to. You're like, I feel better when I don't drink, or I feel better when I don't go out so much. And so, like where I'm at now, I'm 30 years old. I've committed to 1,000 days of no alcohol. I'm on month 6 or 7 right now, and I still get to have fun. But the nice thing is, my diet's a lot more flexible because you don't realize how many calories you eat when you drink. You're consuming when you drink. So 1,000%, you can have a social life. You can go out while still getting lean. We do it with nearly all of our clients.
You mentioned that save your calories for the end of the day. What does the day-to-day look like so you don't just feel like you are starving yourself?
Yeah, so Monday through, let's say you're going out Saturday or Friday and Saturday. You like to have like a dinner on Friday. You like to have a dinner on Saturday, or you like to go out. Then Monday through Friday, you're eating normally, right? Your 3-4 meals. They're high volume, low calorie foods, high protein, high fiber, so that you're full, right? This is assuming you're trying to lose fat. And then you get to Friday night, right? Or Friday, and you have a dinner that night. A lot of what it takes to do this right is having a good calendar and being aware of like what's going on so you can plan accordingly. It's all about preparation. So if like I know I have a date on Friday. I know that when I go out to dinners, I like to have 1,500 calories, so just do whatever I want with, pretty much. And I know that my calorie budget is 2,200 calories. So that gives me 700 calories to play around with up until dinner. So strategically, how I'm going about that day is I'm having coffee in the morning, just coffee, black coffee, maybe with some Splenda, so there's 0 calories. And the coffee is going to act as an appetite suppressant for me. So I may not feel the need to eat until noon. At noon, I'm going to have a high protein meal. So sometimes I'll literally just have like having chicken, vegetables. Yes, this is where you would deploy the bodybuilder diet. Chicken, vegetables, fruit, keep the fat really low. And that meal is going to get me to maybe 60 grams of protein, 20, 30 grams of fat, 20, 30 grams of carbs, and maybe 10 grams of fat. Perfect. Maximum 700 calories. Now I have 1,500 calories for dinner. And at dinner, I'm just making sure I'm sticking to my same framework of high volume foods, low calories. On every menu, you can find high volume foods that are low calories. Every menu is going to have chicken breast or fish or vegetables. Those are the things you're ordering. Now, if you want to be able to eat some higher fat foods, some more decadent foods like steak, it's pretty high in fat, then give yourself some more calories to play with. That's why I would always like go for like 1,500 calories. And I would keep it like pretty low on appetizers, and then just a protein-based entree that would just make me feel satisfied. And that's how you handle it. It's like you track those calories as best as you can on MyFitnessPal. I always like to add a 20% surcharge on top of whatever I'm tracking on MyFitnessPal, just to account for any oils or any fats, any hidden calories. And the next day you wake up, you step on the scale, at best, you've maintained your weight, which is kind of the goal on the weekend, is to just not go backwards, not gain weight. I'm sorry, at best, you've lost some weight the next morning because you actually nailed your calories. At worst, you've maintained. At way worst, you've gained some weight, and then you definitely went over your calories the night before, right? But these are all hard things to manage on your own. Like with all the billion things that you have going on, it's helpful to have a coach to just handle this for you.
You mentioned that as you got in better shape, you started to say no more to things. Was that something your coach pushed on you, or was that something that, like, what naturally made that happen?
So, I wanted to be fit. I wanted to be the total package ever since I was a little kid. I didn't just want to have money. I didn't just want to have status. I want to have, success. And to me, success wasn't success unless I also looked the part, like a movie star, And so that was my North Star. Like I know that is what I want. The best version of myself looks the part, has the money, has the status, has it all, the integrity, all of it. And as you start working with coaches and getting fitter over the years, you start to develop like a really strong association with, you start to value feeling good. And you start to also understand the trade-offs. Like this is, at the end of the day, this is a game of trade-offs. If you want to look good and fit, and you want it to feel easy to do that, then you should probably stop drinking so much. You should probably stop eating out so much. The fact is, it's gonna be harder for you. Period. There's no coach on earth that can refute that. Period. It's just gonna be harder. Can you do it? Absolutely. But there's a point where I kind of just got tired of, after a festival or something like that, or after a bender, I'm like, fuck, gained 3-4 pounds. Like, was it worth it? It just wasn't worth it.
No.
It wasn't worth it. I would rather look good and feel good. And then over time, you realize like the alcohol wasn't even the thing that was making me feel good. It was an illusion. What really felt good was being able to spend time with my friends, but also feel proud of myself. I was using alcohol as a crutch. But yeah, over time, it wasn't my coach that pushed me saying no. It was working with your coach. You recognize, fuck, there's just no other way. You gotta if you want this and you want it to feel easy, then there are some things you just gotta say no to.
I noticed that with some of our clients too, where a lot of them will naturally fall to I don't like going out 2-3 days in a row on the weekends. And I don't think it's the coaches that push you to that, but being in the environment where you kind of have that rock that's holding you there, you just get tired of making it so difficult to get to where you want to go.
Exactly.
It's like, if not, you'll be like, oh, whatever, I'll just do this in a few months. But I feel like having the coach, although they don't say it, because I've never told them, I don't think I've ever told a client like, hey, you should stop drinking. It's just that they come to it, the curiosity hits them, and I think a lot of it is just they just keep on making it so much more difficult than it has to be.
You realize it on your own because here's how I conceptualize it. You just develop so much value to feeling good. I mean, for somebody that has never been jacked or ripped to suddenly start to see what that feels like and the confidence and how everything in your life improves, you start to go like, yo, this is pretty awesome over here. And then anything that starts to take away from that, you start to kind of go, fuck that. Like, that is not worth it. It took a while for me to get to that point. Like, I never would have thought that I would just not drink later in my 30s or in my later 20s. But it makes perfect sense now. I would way rather wake up because you can have it all. You can look really good, be ripped, have a ton of fun socially. But then you realize like alcohol just takes me away from that. And why? It's not worth it. But you don't come to that realization until you have made so many positive associations with being jacked and ripped. And that's why most of our clients eventually come to that realization themselves. They're like, it's just not worth it.
Yeah. What would you say to the person that says they just need to be more disciplined and they can kind of do it all?
And they can kind of do it all.
Yeah, like they can, let's say, go out 3 days a week and then they can manage a job and they need to develop some sort of discipline to be able to do all of it.
Yeah, you do. The simple answer is yeah, you do need to develop that discipline. The question is, are you? Has history, this is the thing about data and like tracking progress.
Even a progress picture, I feel like.
Yeah, like let's say you take 5 years, right? You look back to 5 years, and for these last 5 years, you have constantly said, I just need to be more disciplined. I just need to be more disciplined. I can, have the physique and the social life and all of that. Cool. You look back at the 5 years and you go, am I where I want to be? If the answer is no, then you need to rethink your strategy. Like if you were a CEO of a company, they would have fired you, but the board would have fired you by now because you have made zero fucking progress. So you got to be, this is what I mean. Ignorance is bliss, confirmation bias. You will just keep feeding yourself this bullshit story that, oh yeah, I just need to try harder. I just need to be more disciplined. I just need blah, 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 blah. And you look back 5 years, you're like, I wasted all that time. So yes, the answer is you do need to be more disciplined. You do need to track your calories. You need to be better with your diet. You need to be more consistent. You need to be like all those things. Question is, can you? And this is what trips people up. Yes, you can. Technically, I am. It is within my capability to run a marathon right now. But am I? Is history showing that I do that action? No. So if you want this thing and the strategy that you've been deploying to get the thing that you want has not led to the result, then you've got to be really honest with yourself. Like either you don't really want it that badly, or you do want it that badly and you have been bullshitting yourself for 5 years. And it's tough. It's a tough thing to realize. Like one, being able to admit to yourself, I actually don't want it that badly. Cool. But it'll set you free. Like if you really care, if you don't care about being fat and like kind of average, cool. There's plenty of people that are cool with that. I'm not, and you're probably not watching this video if that's you. But and this is the more important realization for those of you watching this video, that you do want to be the best versions of yourself. You want to get ripped, you want to get jacked, you want to be able to sustain it forever. You got to have an honest conversation with yourself. Is this really like about me just trying harder? Go ahead, try one more time. Try as hard as you can one more time. And if you can't do it, there's nothing wrong with you. You just need a different strategy.
I think that's like the perfect ending.
Cool. So we'll end it there. Hope that helped, guys. If you're looking or interested in any one-on-one fitness coaching, or you just want to chat, learn more about how our program works, just shoot me a DM at Julio Santos-De on Instagram and just say what's up. I mean, you can send us a DM coaching and we'll start a conversation. We'll see how we can help you or not. We'll point you in the right direction. Worst case. Peace. Thanks for watching.